except I appreciated what I saw. Bad, good, it didn't matter. I enjoyed it very much, everything that I would see, anything that would move on the screen. However, I think I realized more and more the responsibility.
The day that Marilyn Monroe was to visit the 1st Marine Division, we had no warning. We woke up one winter day, cold as usual. It's lethal cold in Korea. There's no getting around that. And we were told that 80% of the company was allowed to get down to Munsanee, which is north of Seoul, to see a stage show with Marilyn Monroe.
And what was it like when she came out on stage?
Well, it was a very cold day, real cold. I'd say 10 above zero. There was a few snowflakes in the air. And when she come out on stage, we were all cheering long before that. Where's Marilyn? Where's Marilyn? She come out and the place erupted. A real raucous welcome to the most beautiful woman in the world, Marilyn Monroe.
Now, one thing that I've heard other people who have seen the show say, that she was almost as courageous as you because she was wearing a tight cocktail dress and nothing else, and it was freezing cold. Talk about that.
Absolutely. It was freezing cold, and we were all had winter gear on. Okay, she come on the stage, and like I said, it was cheering, bedlam and everything else. Control though. But it was a massive attendance of Marines. I couldn't get over myself. Where are all these Marines coming from? But she come out in the cocktail dress, and my outfit, Anti-Tank Company, 7th Marine Regiment, there was 80 of us out of the 100 there in the 4th row, but we had 4 pair of binoculars that we took off the tanks looking at Marilyn Monroe. And once in a while she would see us with the binoculars, fighting for the binoculars, and she would only play up to us all the more. She was a wonderful entertainer.
What was the show like?
The show was rather Spartan by Hollywood standards, but she had a few accompanists with her. I think they were Army personnel out of Special Service in tuxedos. I remember there was a drummer with Anything Goes on the side of the drum, and saxophonist and a piano player, and they were in tuxedos, but we weren't looking at them.
What was that? That was obviously the first time that you've seen her, but you knew of her. What type of woman was she for you?
I was surprised. I was never a gaga about Marilyn Monroe, but when I saw her up close, she was a classic beauty, and she wasn't the greatest singer, but she knew how to put a song over, especially when she sang "Diamonds Are Our Best Girl's Friend." The place went crazy. And she gave us a good show. I have to say that I think a lot of her for being there for us that day in a bleak, cold winter day where the doldrums and tedium of make-believe battle is happening, going down to see the most beautiful girl in Hollywood. It was quite uplifting to our morale, to say the least. What were some of the comments that some of your other buddies made? I was surprised that it wasn't vulgar. They were yelling and screaming, but nobody was listening to anybody. And we were loud. Like I said, we were a raucous crowd and cheering. And she just took it all in like a sponge. And she gave even more. I think even more, because if I can recall, she never played before such a massive live audience. It did something for her too.
I want you to expand on that one more time, because I remember reading that she had said there was nothing like it to play to this chorus of 100,000 soldiers that has never been, she's never had any experience like that. Put that in your own words, how she reacted.
She reacted that she just got into her routine, and maybe a little more so. Every bump and grind, or whatever, what have you. And like I said, she was a one-woman show, and all eyes were on her.
But I want you to put in your own words what she said later, that this was the biggest experience in her professional life. Why don't you say that to me? She later said that this was... Go ahead.
Well, she was always performing before cameras. More or less a cloistered group with the cameras. Here, she's hit with the impact of maybe 7,000 or 8,000 voices yelling at her or screaming for her in adulation, not in vulgarity.
That was a big deal for her. I want you to basically, you said it once, but I want you to expand on it one more time, that this was a major big event in her professional life, as she said herself. Do you know what I'm trying to get at?
Okay, maybe we didn't appreciate it at that time, what it was going to do for her career. But we were just spontaneous, just a wild-ass bunch of Marines, doing something we never thought would ever be doing.
What was the reasoning of the Marine Corps to actually get her out there for you?
Well, we were part of the 8th Army and the 10th Corps, which had fought in Korea. 54 was the waiting for the gooks to come across the Imjin River and would slaughter them. There was tedium and boredom in the outfits, and when winter comes, it's even more oppressive. And morale sort of flags, and then when we go see a Marilyn Monroe, our morale soared way up for weeks afterwards. So hopefully what she got out of it, we also got something out of it, and I think it did spur her career to her benefit after Korea, to pump adrenaline into her career.
As she came out of onto the stage, I want you to describe the excitement and that roar one more time. And maybe, if you don't want to say exactly the same thing you've said, maybe you talk to other people who had been there, and you could use some words that how they described it. Have another crack at that one.
All right. When she come out, I'll try to bring in the remarks I heard. It was the loudest roar I ever heard, and some of the fellows were saying, "That's my girl," and all that, and boy, I never knew she was this beautiful. She was more beautiful than even on the screen, because we're up close, and that cocktail dress, I don't know if she had her bra or panties on, but to us it didn't look like she did, and she was making the moves, and we were responding tumultuously to each one of them, and she was a professional performer, and she knew how to hold a crowd.
And I want you to also try one more time, and it's somewhat, on a combat level, obviously, you can't call her heroic or anything, but to go out there for 2 hours in the freezing cold in that dress, is somewhat heroic of itself. Put that one more time in your own words.
Sure. As soon as we saw her come out with the upper part of her, just skin exposed to the elements, we knew immediately she's a trooper, and she's putting on a real show, regardless of her whatever health she was in. It meant a lot to us. She's spotting about this, and she's not holding back one iota. That registered with us.